It came from far, it came from heaven. Wicked, just stop the bullshit. It's just a package from China. So let's go. So recently we talked about the DIY cabinet. But did you know there is already a plug and play device, mini arcade Neo Geo version. So the DIY edition and also the Neo Geo edition came from the same seller, the 3E game store, or the official game store they call it now. The left one, the Woody, you need to put it together, but the Neo Geo edition, the mini arcade Pandora's box, is ready to go. You can just plug it into the wall socket and you can just play some arcade games. But nowadays there are quite some different versions out there when it comes to the main boards. Yep, it doesn't have a light up marquee like the Woody edition or the DIY, and of course it weighs quite light because this thing is fully made of plastic, or the dual screen plastic fantastic. My version back in the day came with a Pandora's Box 6, but also nowadays you can get yourself a CX or a DX depending where you're going to buy it. But okay, the 2-player Virgin Arcade controller. It's kind of a weird name, but that's the reason I just call it the Neo Geo Cabinet. It looks, let's say, not exactly like a Neo Geo Cabinet, but it's getting close. 2-player 10-inch dual screen arcade. It's similar like the other version we have reviewed here on the channel. Only if people don't want to tinker with the DIY kit, this is just super convenient and very easy. It comes with typical, let's say, Pandora's Box system. So far I know there is no Pandora Game 3D edition. So but nevertheless what you're going to get is a quite basic plastic fantastic device. Mine came with two 10-inch LCD displays. So far I know both of them are full HD, but the Pandora's boxes, fun fact, only have a signal output for 720p. All the connections are here, and the fun fact is like you can connect a third monitor. This is by the way the only arcade machine that has a capability of doing that, because normally we only can hook up one monitor at the same time. So the third monitor can be connected, so let's do this and let's talk about the later edition of the Pandora's box. So the device is the 3001, and what you already can see that they changed some things out. First of all, they did create a new layout, or a layout of the background basically. And we're having now a 3D, and a very nice decal with the 3-dimensional games. When pressing left or right, you go to the next page. As you can see, there are quite some different games and a lot of double games. So what they're doing with the Pandora Box 9 and putting double games. Sometimes you have these hack games like boss that you can play with the bosses. I have no problem with that. More like a homebrew hacked game. I love it. But at the end, when you're having these double games, yeah, it's just more like a naughty cheating list. Okay, pressing up and down, you can see it changes also the little preview over there. Pressing the start button, you're gonna get the categorize system. They changed some things out over here. We're having now search like the previous model. We're having the recent list over here. We're having 3-dimensional games. We even have a little categorized thing with 3 and 4 player. But what you already can see with this is that we're having a lot of double games. So I think there were around 100 games supporting the 3 and 4 player mode. But at the end, you're going to get a handful. And then we have all the other stuff, like the previous model. We can go to the Sport games by pressing the number 1 or triangle if you're a PlayStation player. You go to the menu here and you can choose your game. The question remains, did they still mess the things up? For example, with the PlayStation, we can save that things that we're going to test out. But nevertheless, let's go to the settings menu. So let's see what happens here. Pressing the little button. So a little thing, as you can hear, we're having different song now. And the reason why, because first of all, the thing that was original on the settings menu, it was a copyrighted song. And nowadays we can just swap the intro, change the music at the background, so that's pretty convenient. Alright, so we're having EO testing. There are not a lot of new things here. For the people just new to this product, you can see we're having custom buttons. The problem with this is that you can change your buttons, but basically for every game. So it's not you can say I want to change my buttons for a certain game. That's not possible, it's just only for the full emulator. Game settings. Let's go into the game settings. You can change the difficulty. I did notice some people had problems with it, that it didn't work. As you can see, we can even remove games, or you say I don't want to see the double games, you can go through the list, you can change everything out if you want to. Alright, so let's say I want to display all, or I want to say I want to remove this game. So that is a possibility. The only thing that I really hate about it, as you can see, they're saying A, B, C, D, and we don't have these buttons. We're having on the controllers 1 to 4. I think the colors are exactly the same, or let's see, display all. No, No, the colors are basically all different. Yeah, okay. Bookkeeping, that's only if you're having this in an arcade machine. You can turn the internal speaker when you're having this in a Pandora machine on and off. Alright, so let's talk about the game settings, because here are quite some new interesting things. So for example, we have all the other features like with the previous games, like how to exit, and you name it, it's here. But with the quality optimization, we're having some new options. We can just turn it off, like the previous models, but we can turn scan lines on. So I'm going to do a separate capture where you can see the difference between the scan line option and without, and including the quality optimization. I already mentioned that the device itself is fully made of plastic, so it doesn't weigh a lot, and I find it's very convenient. So you just want to move it around, because the Woody edition I've reviewed before is like a freaking brick. It weighs a lot, and this thing weighs only, let's say, a couple of kilograms, and that is what I really like about it. So overall, when it comes to controls, it's the same story. 6-button layout is a little bit of a bummer, because when you're ordering now in Pandora's CX or DX, we're having like 8-button support. And that is what I really like about it. And the button quality is the same like all the other Pandora boxes I've reviewed, beside of course the original cinema version that you buy. We're having like all the same controls, start, select, that we're going to need for entering the menu or entering a credit. And of course pressing start is for player 1 and player 2 if you want to play a game together or alone. The displays itself, they are looking very nice. Both are 10-inch full HD displays. And it's quite interesting to see like how they can make this for the money. Let's turn it around. That's the only downside that I had, like we're going to get 2 different displays. The marquee itself is just basically a sticker in it. There is no light up marquee this time. With the Woody we did have one. I think it's not a big of a deal, but they have made this thing cheap as possible if you ask me. And let's see, over here we're going to get the HDMI connection we already talked about, and we're going to get the input for power supply, turning in the on and off with the switch, volume control, audio jack out, the button for settings, and in this case we're going to use a thumb drive for adding the files. Okay guys, so at the bottom we're going to get one speaker. It doesn't have any bass, more like for mid and high, and it's not like the same 5 watts that we're going to get in every single Pandora's box. The overall experience I had with this device was very positive. It's a quite unique way to play that every single player has their own screen. Nowadays we're having a lot of these devices popping up on AliExpress, but I think this is one of my favorite ones, simply because it doesn't cost a lot compared with all the other versions. And the positive thing about this thing is Plastic Fantastic is very simple. The weight itself in general, and it also includes when it comes to the shipping, because this thing can be shipped out way cheaper than the Woody edition, because that's just a general problem that I'm having with these arcade machines in general with AliExpress, the expensive freaking shipping. So far I know there is no way for getting a machine like this with a Raspberry Pi inside, because the Pi has so much more potential when it comes to emulation, especially with the Pi 4. Pandora Game 3D, same story, and so far I know I could only find the one with the 6, the CX or the DX. And the difference between these 3 main boards is that I think like the emulation of the CX and DX are slightly better here and there, but you need to basically hack it and crack it open with some Pandora tools to get the best performance out of it. The mini arcade Neo Geo Pandora's Box Double. I must say that is one of my favorite ones, despite that it is just a Plastic Fantastic machine and they messed it up with the displays with mine. I hope not everybody has this same issue. And overall, it's very fun to play this way. I did notice some differences between the displays when it comes to the quality, but overall, like if you can buy it with a Pi or a better Pandora's Box, that would be even a better experience. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.